Okay, so we established these facts earlier in the first session that we are looking at this session, and then we are looking at this place for what markets wants to do based on the monthly, then coming down to the daily. Is this the?
Sorry, sir. Why did you mark that high and low?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you, sir.
The high and low you mark on monthly.
Yeah.
The high you mark on monthly and the high and low you mark on monthly. Why did you mark it, sir?
I just marked it just to show you the present territory of where price is at the moment. So whatever, based on the weekly, whatever price does here will determine what our buyers will be. Price can come here, come back, and then start a bullish trend, or price can break here, come back, and continue the bearish trend. Do you understand, sir? Do you understand, sir? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
let's go back to where this guy started.
Yes,
Oh dear Lord. Oh no. Weekly, daily. So, oh, that means I missed something earlier. That means I didn't start from the beginning. Okay, so let's just go straight to what we have. So we can see what price did there. High, low, broke structure, broke this zone. Let's use here, came back to retest. Where? Why did price turn back from here? Okay, I'm seeing a kind of imbalance here. That will be very clear if I go to H4. So price came to the open of the imbalance, created another high here. Let me see. Let me use my line charts. So here, and then price ranged. What happened there? Came back to this place using the line charts now. So the structure is still bullish. Looking at the choppy movement that happened here, we can still see that the structure is still bullish. Then from here, price dived up, came back to retest. Is my volume low? Is my volume that low?
No, sir. Yeah, okay, sir.
So price broke this zone, created a new high, came back to this imbalance, filled the imbalance, spiked up, and then what happened? Came back where? Came back to this institutional candle, and then still went back up, but didn't create a new high. price didn't create a new high here. So this zone, price maintained that zone. And then going forward, so we have these two zones as the structural points now. We have these two zones as the structural points. So price came here, came back, played around here, and then here we saw a clear break of structure. So what happened? Did price come back to this zone at all? Okay, price actually came back, but it took a while. Sorry, I'm using my small laptop, so the screen is a little bit small, but let's manage it. So what happened here? Price came up here. Why did price turn back here? What happened here? What made price turn back from here? Let me go to H12 to see what happened. H8. Okay. H4. Okay, there was a cube there. There was a cube there on H4, and that threw price back to the downside. But of course, would have been expecting price to come back here immediately and then just give us a kind of downward movement. But we noticed that price played around this zone. See all these places, price did this thing. Here. Price did this thing here. Low, high, low. Created a new lower low. Came back, and then we saw the bullish move down to where that cube got stationed on H4, and then we noticed that price still went down, creating a bearish movement. High, low, high, low, and then we saw a choppy movement. In fact, from this I can see that V50 is a kind of a choppy movement assets. The way it moves is quite funny. It's really funny. So high, low, and then we saw the choppy movement here. Although if you go to a longer time frame, you will see that this movement actually happens to be a structural movement. This is a movement. This movement has structures. If you go down to the lower time frame, and then we began to see a strange move here. High, low, high, low, high, low. Institutional concepts. Yeah. And then price created a low, broke out of this zone, came back here. High, low, high, low, high, came back to this zone. In fact, once we are done with this time frame, I'll go back to H4 to start again. Low, then high, low, and then we saw the upward movement down to where price is currently stationed. And then from where price is currently stationed, we are seeing a kind of a funny movement also. High, low, high. And then we saw this break of structure here. So based on this high, low, we'll be expecting, because of this sweep that happened here, we're expecting price to come back to this zone from here to here. But then price broke structure, came back to retest. In fact, came back to retest this imbalance. Almost filled it up. In fact, it's filled up this imbalance. Price filled up this imbalance. Came back, but we still have institutional the institutional concepts there. And then price came, in fact, blew out of the zone. Price came, blew out of the zone, and then came down again. So going back to our weekly time frame now, what are we seeing here now? What are we seeing here? The institutional candle that I marked here. This is it. Price came here, blew out of it, came up, and then price is still dancing actually. Price is still dancing, but looking at what our monthly is saying, this is the high, this is the low. And then from there, in fact, the range should be from here. The range should be from here. Let me use the range now should be from somewhere around here. High, low, high, broke structure. So until a new low is formed, we can't validate a new high. So this is still the last lower high. Coming. This is still the last lower high here. And this is still the last lower low. This is the last lower high and this is the last lower low. But whatever price gives us here now will determine the move that the markets will bring. So going back to my daily, we notice that price has been ranging in between the two structural points. Me, I don't trade this VIX50 because of its funny movements. I really don't like it at all. In fact, from what we've been saying, you should now see that it's not. It doesn't give a smooth movement like that. So this is H4. We are going back to the beginning. Now this is H4. We used daily before, but now this is the H4 high, low. Took out this thing, but still closed within the structure. Still closed within it, and then we saw a push to the upside. High, low, high, low, high, low. Let me see. High, okay. There was a new high here, low. We saw the push up, and then the down movement started. Break of structure happened there. A retest to the institutional zone, and then we saw this deep dive down. However, we expect that price will come at least maybe to this imbalance. There is an imbalance here. Price will come there, but price didn't come. Price broke structure again to the downside. Price broke structure to the downside, and then we saw the upward move again, which took out this last point. So even based on this, we can see the funny moves of V75. I mean V50. This is one of the reasons why personally I don't trade it. Personally, I don't trade it because of how funny the movement has been. So no, the first observation about this asset is that it ranges a lot. It ranges a lot. Guys, see this range, see this range, see this orange. This H4, see this orange, see this orange. In fact, let me mark all the areas of range for you to see that it ranges even far more than the normal move that it moves. See here, guys. See. this whole place, price ranged, and then where again, and then here. Yeah, and then where again, and then here. And then here. The movement is not that sweet compared to uh compared to the previous asset we've been checking. However, does it mean that you cannot milk this asset because of its movement? No. Come in, please. No, that's not what I'm saying. For you to make this asset very well now, you have to be trading in lower time frame, maybe H2, although it must still be in accordance with the trend, but maybe let's say H2 or H1. When you come here, you will see clear structures, although you will see a lot of violations, but you will still be able to catch your at this short move. So you see this high low break of structure, came back. Imagine if you this kind of move now, you may not be able to join this last push up. Why? Because price didn't come back to where you're supposed to buy from. You can imagine this, let's say 30%, price to trace 30% and continue to buy. You can imagine that kind of movement. So price came back, went up, no good retest. See this place too. This should be maybe 30% or so. 30% or so. And then price broke that zone, went up, came back to this place, and then see this short moves. Sure, if it's trending, even if this guy is trending, it gives short moves. Your 1 to 3 is sure and secured, although you may get stopped out a lot of times. I mean, a lot of times. So imagine catching this guy here. Let me go to M30 to see what happened exactly. So high, low, came back here. Catching this guy here. In fact, I think in my little observation, I think this guy obeys supply and demand very well. Very, very well. Because this actually happens to be the sell candle that broke the structure. So price came back to retest that sell candle that broke the structure, and then boom, we see a kind of upward move. So high, low, high, low, and then price did a kind of a choppy movement. High, low, high, low. So this happens to be the last low. And then price came back to that place, didn't break it, and still went up. So as far as we are concerned now, this is the whole swing. Yeah, all these moves that you are seeing is a ranging market. And then price broke this zone too. Price broke this zone here. Came back to retest this imbalance here. And then went up, came back, broke the structure officially. There was a break of structure, and the price went back to this zone. Price came back to this zone. So number one, V50 gives a choppy movement. Number two, the swings during trends are usually a very, very short one. They're usually a very, very, very short one. Number three, since we are not doing supply and demand, that is not a major point of concern to us. Number four, what do we call this movement, please? What do we call this retest pattern? This kind of retest that happen. What do we call in this case? What do we call this block?
Breaker block.
Breaker block. I think this is the third breaker block that I will see play out in this V50. So number one, it ranges a lot. Number two, it gives short swings during trend. Number three, it respect breaker block. It respect this is like the third one I'll be seeing. It respect breaker block, came back to that block and then dived down. And then we began to see another upward movement. Imbalances here, dived up, came back to this block, dived up. See these movements. I'm usually this kind of movement makes me angry, you see, and then came back to this institutional candle, dived up, came back here. You see, short move. It will be trendy, but you may not join it, but before you know it, you will just notice that it has moved a lot of points. Short highs and lows, short highs and lows, and then you will just be there watching, and then finally took out all the dynamic liquidities here, came back here, went up, created a new high, came back for a retest, and then created another high, came back to this candle, created a new high. No, didn't create a new high. So we saw a push upward here. See the retest. That should be like 30% or so. And then price went back up. And here we saw a break of structure. Still our dear breaker block. Came to test the breaker block, dived down, came back to test this institutional candle here this time around, and the market broke structure to the downside again. And the market broke structure to the downside, and then we began to see accumulation of pulls here, which shows that price will definitely spike up and spike down. And what happened here? Price spiked up here, spiked down, went up, came back to retest this candle, and we saw the bullish trend. Same thing happened here, downtrend, uptrend, the choppy market. See what I was saying. Broke structure, came back to retest it, another break, came back to retest this again, and then the downward movement. So based on this, what can you guys also say about V50? That won't be the only one talking. What can you say about V50 also? I'm waiting for you guys to talk. What can you say about V50?
Greetings, Havilah. What I noticed about the 50 is that one thing is that aside from some of the things you picked out, so one of them breaker block and respecting, but is respecting breaker block most often and ranging a lot. Before you know it, you'll be looking at it that it's ranging, and before you know it, the price has gone far. That in fact your entry will become. You won't have an entry, a good entry anymore. What I noticed about is that if you want to trade V50 successfully or have more profitable trade on it, is that you have to find it at the origin of every trend. Like you're getting at the more like the beginning of a trend, if I'm to put it that way. Because when you get
Yes, sir.
That's
Are you still with
at the
us?
beginning of a particular trend, you'll be able to end and you're entering at when price has moved a lot. You're most likely to be knocked out. So I believe 50, for instance, this chart we are looking at now, you can see where after the break of structure, that retracement after the break of structure. I don't know if I can annotate on this chart.
Yes, you
Someone that
can.
just
But
okay, okay, yeah, I'm using my phone. I can't annotate. So, but if I hope this chart, this current chart that you just left, you can see the break of structure and the return of price back to a discount zone. Back to a discount
yeah,
zone. So, yes, that particular point, yes. If a patient, someone that was looking to buy, that was patient enough, I got an entry there. One, you got an entry there. Look at that point. Look at where the penalty is 78%. So if you got an
28.6. Yeah.
entry there, 78.6. If you got an entry there, you'll be relaxed. You'll feel relaxed. But if you are getting an entry, anything higher than that, you'll be worried because the price might come back and hit you out and still buy. Yes. So that's what I think. That getting trades at the first major break of structure. Because I trade this asset a lot. I trade in fact most of my profitable trades have come from this asset actually. So this buy now, I saw it. I saw the break of structure. Although I didn't take this trade, but I knew that this was what was going to happen. So when I checked back later, I saw it. I just laughed and said, "Okay, I missed it." I didn't bother taking the buy again because once I missed that entry, I don't bother. I don't bother anymore because I know that I might get knocked out. You will just be chasing it. You will buy, it will come back, knock you out. You will still have to buy, it will come back and knock you out. So once you made that major entry, I just believe that just let it ride on its own man. Then look out for another start of another trend, maybe to sell down or whatever the price wants to do. Thank you, sir.
Okay. And I think if you don't catch this guy early, just trying to look for entries at the middle can be quite complicated. You can get yourself burnt by reason of your risk management. You can get yourself burnt. That's what I've also noticed about the assets. And I've also seen that it breaks structure a lot. Like it weaks out structure a lot. It will break structure and stay close within the structure. I take asset like that very, very diabolic. Like it's a very, very diabolical asset. I don't trade it. I celebrate you that trade it. It's a very, very crazy asset.
Okay,
I don't
sir.
like it
So,
at all.
sir, can I ask something about this asset? Sorry to cut you short.
Sure, sure,
Yeah,
you can.
one thing I noticed that if you want to trade B50, okay, sir. What I want to add is that this B50, if you want to trade it successfully, always, what I do, I always look for what is happening on the weekly or daily. That
Yeah,
is your direction, your trade bias should align with the weekly or daily. If it's not in line with those guys, forget it. You will be knocked out. Especially the weekly, because what is currently happening on this asset now is what the weekly is doing. If you check, you see that what the weekly is the one that's currently controlling what is happening on this weekly right now. If you check, is this weekly time frame rather is what is controlling what is happening on the weekly right now. Any trade that you take and is aligning with the weekly, I'm telling you, I'm very sure. I'm 99% sure that it's in profit. Any trade that is aligning with the weekly right now.
okay. Yeah, like I said the other time that if you want to catch your short moves, ensure that the moves they are in line with your higher time frame biases. Ensure this asset is not the kind of asset that you will be planning to trade against the trend. You will get if you are trading with the trend, so you are getting knocked out. Not to talk of now trading against. Now see what happened here, guys. See what happened here. See what happened here. Look at my present chart now. Look at it. This is a clear sweep, right? And then broke structure. And then still the madness that the guy did went out, take out all these guys, and then still sold. You see what I'm saying now? You see what I'm saying? So you guys should drop your observations about V50 on the chat now. Please drop it now. Any other question? Any other contribution before I wrap up the session?
So what I also observed as you were trying to show us the chart is that most time before this guy breaks structure, if you want to break structure to the upside, most time it will force range, it will go sideways, come down and downside, then it will break structure to the upside. So that's what it
Yeah,
always do.
this kind of move.
Sideways for some time.
To now,
More
boom.
liquidity. Yes, then move up.
Then
Yeah.
that's true. At least we saw this like 3 to 4 times. So that's a valid observation. Thank you. Any other? Any other? Okay, in the absence of no other, I'll be closing the session here. Please, immediately we finish the session, try as much as possible to drop your observations on the group. And like I said, ensure that you have your journal. Ensure that you have your journal. Don't waste this thing that we are doing. Ensure you won't always have time like this to backtest all assets. So don't waste. You can see there's a lot of sacrifice. Right now, I'm supposed to be relaxing. I'm not feeling too well. If you notice, I didn't join the session yesterday. I had to sleep early that yesterday. So it's a sacrifice that we all are putting into this thing to ensure that things go up and then we achieve what we want to achieve. So thank you guys for joining today. Don't forget to drop your observations, and as you drop your observations, ensure that you also mark out your you also update your trade journal so that it can capture whatever you've learned today. Thank you very much everyone for joining tonight's session. Cheers and God bless. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Right, sir. Take care, sir.
Good night, sir.